Hi, so we're going to talk about global and local scopes of variables. The global and local scope determines how variables are seen inside and outside a function block. And that means that if a variable is global, that means it can be used within a function and also outside a function. However, if a variable is local, it can only be used within the function. But if it's global, it can be used anywhere in your code. So let's take an example to explain what that means. So let's assume that we set my global, which will be the global variable, and that will be 10. And then we also set my local, which is going to represent the local variable, to be 20. That way. And now we're going to create the function because we are comparing the variables within the function with the variables outside the function. So we'll create the function and we'll just call that my func, something like that. So one thing to note is that when we have the variable outside the function, it is a global variable. That means it can be used anywhere within the code, both inside the function and outside the function. So in this case, we have our global variable, which is represented here. So what we can simply do is to just write it out here, and we can say my global that way, and it's equals to 5. So what we've done is that we've already declared my global on the global scale, and now we do not need to redeclare my global anymore within the function. So it's going to represent the global scope. However, once we declare my global in the function, then my global becomes a local variable. And what that means is, in this case, we're going to take this, my local, and I'm going to specify that I want to change this now to 10. So if I come here and now I say console.log in this case, and I put in my global and my local, just to see what that will give us, and I come down here and I say my func and I save that. Now we can see that my global on the local scale is 5 and my local on the local scale is changed to 10. So what that means is that we declared my global on the global scale to 10, my local on the global scale to 20, and now within the function we've declared my global to 5 and my local to 10. So now this change has been made. However, I'm going to remove the let because this is a global variable. So once it's a global variable, we do not need to use the let keyword in the variable. We'll just specify the variable itself with the value, and it's going to act globally. However, in this case, for my local, we are going to put the let keyword because we want it to act only within the function. That means this change will only be effected within the function. And now we have this. So let's assume now that we want to log out the same values from outside the function. And what do you think would happen in this case? So let us save and see. If we save that, we have my global will now be 5 outside. Remember this inside here, the function, and this outside the function. So inside the function we had my global was changed to 5. Initially it was 10, it now changed to 5. And now outside the function, my global still retained the value of 5. Why? Because when we express it this way within a function without the let keyword, it means that we still want to make it a global variable. So the change would be affected globally. That's what it means. And that's why we have 5 as the result even after we called it outside the function. However, notice what happened with the my local variable. We see that we declared it outside as 20, and locally we came here in the function and we now declared it here as 10. And when we now called it inside the function, it gave us 10, but outside the function is giving us 20, which is what we declared here. So it means that this change we made inside the function didn't take effect on the global scope. It only took effect on the local scope because we used the let keyword. So it's very important to understand this so that when you intend making a global change within a function, you do not use the let keyword. But when we want to make a local change within the function, we make sure we use the let keyword. So let's try the task. So it says create a myTest function to output a local variable with value. This is local, and a global variable with value. This is global. So I'm going to do that, and I will just create the function in this case and call it myTest. And I'm going to first specify the local variable. So I'm going to say let my local be equals to, and I'm going to call this string. This is local, that way. And then I'm going to create the global value, and I'll call that my global is equals to, and I'm going to copy that. This is global. This is global. And when I now console.log this, and I'm going to do that for my local, and I'm going to also do that for my global, and I'm going to call the function there, save it. And now what I have here is this is local and this is global. So you can see that we didn't declare my global with the let keyword. However, the program was able to know that this is a global scope. Why? Because it's within the function and we didn't use the let keyword, and that's why it still gave us this without an error. It said this is global, and this one, it says this is local. And if we try to call this local outside, it will give us an error. But if we try to call this global, it wouldn't give us an error. So let's just try that. So we'll copy this and paste that there and save, and now we can see on my local is not defined. So only specify my global, and now it says this is global. So it means that on a global scale this is working. So another way to do it, if we don't want to use this within the function and we want it to be global, it's just to copy this out and come before the function, and we can specify it with the let keyword outside the function, and that will still be the same. That will be global. This is global. So that's simply the difference between the global and the local scope for variables.